Welcome to Python Basics with EJD. Still talking about some very vital packages in Python. All right, where I've talked about NumPy, I've talked about pandas now, and of course, these are not just in-depth and use of these things because there are other playlists where I actually really went deep in all this, data analysis with Python. There I dealt a lot with NumPy. I dealt with pandas. I also dealt with Matplotlib, Seaborn, and other data visualization packages. So here, this is just a kind of brief into Matplotlib and Seaborn for data visualization. All right. So introduction to Matplotlib and Seaborn. First of all, you need to understand that Matplotlib is the core Python library for 2D and 3D plotting, and it is highly customizable, right? On the other hand, Seaborn is built on top of Matplotlib, and it adds high-level statistical visualizations and aesthetic styles. So if you want some very beautiful aspect of plotting, then you go for Seaborn. So straight up, let's talk about some basic plot types in Matplotlib. So we can have simple line plots. Of course, I'm not here to explain the whole thing, just to demonstrate because they have all been taken care of under data analysis with Python. All right. And of course, data analysis with Python. So here now, of course, you have to import. I mean, before you plot, sometimes you need to do some calculations, right? Or you need some things from NumPy. So that's why most times NumPy and Matplotlib always go together. Now you see the usefulness of alias here, PLT. Imagine you have to anytime. So all these places where you have PLT now, normally it should have been matplotlib.pyplot.plot, matplotlib.pyplot.xlabel, matplotlib. So that's a lot. But if you just have PLT, just takes care of this whole thing. So in here, our x-axis is 0 to 10 and we are plotting sine of that over 100 divisions of that or something. So if you run this now, this is the kind of thing you get. The first time it runs a bit not fast. Yeah, so you have this now. So that's sine x right there. So you can have bar plots. Imagine you have categories A, B, C, D, and the values are 3752. So you can just say, by the way, the key word here is the plt.plot, right? You're plotting y against x. This is y and this is x axis. So for this now, you have the categories. If you want to do bar plots, A is 3, B is 7, C is 5, and D is 2. Then you can do plt.bar and then categories and the values, and then you want the color to be orange. You can change the color if you like. So if you run this now, you have the bar plots like this. You can change the color if you like. Maybe you want the color to be, say, green, So you have green like this. So anyhow you want it. Then you can have scatter plots too. So here we are generating np.random.rand 50. So we need 50 random numbers. In this case, it's what is it called now? Custom what is it called now? When the distribution is from 0 to 1. I've forgotten what that is. Uniform distribution. Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. Uniform distribution, random numbers that follow uniform distribution. So it means each time you run it, you're probably going to get a new shape. Okay, yeah, you see, it keeps changing. It keeps changing as you keep running. It keeps changing like that because it's random. Then for histograms too, so the keyword here is plt.scatter if you want to do scatter plot x against y. And for histograms, the keyword is plt.hist. Then, of course, one key thing about histogram is all the bars are joined together. So this bin decides how far apart or how close the bars are. So here we are generating 1,000 normally distributed random numbers because this is rand n, right? So we do this now. So we have this. So the edge color is black. What if I want to make the edge color red, and then the color of the bars itself is actually green. So we can do all of these kind of things. So what if I want the color of the bars to be blue? Okay, blue now. So something like this. All right. So, and then the beans too. What if the bean is 3? What happens? So you have bigger lines, right? So 30 is good. What if I make it 50? So it's thinner. So it all depends, whatever you want. Then you can have subplots. So you can have a number of plots. So instead of having just one plot, you can have maybe 4 plots together. So 2 by 2 means you have 2 rows and 2 columns of plots. That means you have 4 plots altogether. So if you are doing subplot, 2 times 2 is 4. So if you want more, you can extend this and change all this. So first of all, you have at the 0, 0, at the 0, 0. So you're plotting x against y. So don't forget the last x and y that was declared. Okay, we don't have x here. We don't have, yeah, the last x and y are just random values here. So those are what we have declared. So you are plotting x and x, comma y. Then categories and values, the ones declared for the bar, and for the scatter, it's still x and y. For the histogram, it's still that data. I think the data that was declared up here just now, that's what we are using. So I bring it all of that together and we run, and then you have 4 plots like this. So you have line plots for the random stuff. So you can see this, even the scatter too is from the line plots, but then you have the bar chart and the histogram also, like that. So um, you can plot in a matrix like this. Talking about subplots. Then you can customize your plots with legends, colors, styles, line widths, and markers like this. So imagine you're plotting sine and cosine. So you have to label them. Then you have to color, you have to to indicate the line style and the width of the line. You can do all that. The marker, you can, of course, you can put the title, the label, X label, Y label, the legend, where you want the legend to be, whether upper right or lower right or wherever. So you see this now. So the legend is at the upper right. What if I say lower right or even center, right? What if I say center, center? So it comes to the center like this. But I think upper right works better. It has no interference with anything going on right there. So for the cosine, I just want you have these markers right there, so you can do all this. So this is customizing plots now. So we also have global styles. So you can imagine ggplot is from R, but you can actually bring some of that element here, or you can have Seaborn of 538 or classic and all that. So imagine for ggplot, now we are plotting y against x, and we have a styled plot like this, right? So what if I want something else? Like I just do alternate enter and create a new cell. I paste this instead of ggplot. I just want, does this work? I'm not sure. Let me just try this out. Uh, what does it do? Nothing special. Okay. So I think we had better not bother about that as we move on. So now let's go to Seaborn for statistical plots. Okay. So Seaborn for statistical plot. I forgot that if you are using Matplotlib for the first time, you should install it, right? As we've been doing. So you should install it as we've been doing. So of course, the first thing should have been that after, okay, like, let me see. Okay, let me do this and do this again. So I want to move, okay, I guess I've done excess stuff. So this now, oh, this takes code. Then I move this upward. Yes, so that line plot can be here. So again, don't forget you have to do pip install. You have to do pip install matplotlib. You can also do Seaborn together, but I want to do Matplotlib just for now. Okay, so that's if you didn't have it installed, this is the first thing you should do, right? So if you don't have it installed, this is the first thing you should do. All right. So after doing this, then you can now go on to other things, right? I think this should actually, I want this to come after. Okay, now I know what's wrong here. I don't want this to be together with matplot with this one so that the code can come after it. So this comes, and then I come back here. Then I need a new text. So this can come here, and then I can move this. I can move this. Yes. So I can move this after basic plots in Matplotlib. So I can then have line plots and keep going like that. So that's what the first thing I should have done. For Seaborn too, we should do that first. So in case you're working with Seaborn for the first time and you've never installed it, thankfully I can just create a code on top of this. So the first thing you want to do is install, pip install Seaborn. Okay, this is your first time of using it, if that is. So you run this first of all and be sure that's working. I already have it. That's why it's saying requirement already satisfied. In your case, if it's your first time, you may have to, may take more time and then it won't, it will tell you some other stories apart from this. So now we can only do heat map in Seaborn. We can't do it in Matplotlib. But Matplotlib cannot, Seaborn cannot exist without Matplotlib. Matplotlib can stand alone, but it cannot do some beautiful things that Seaborn can do. So it looks like if you need just one data visualization tool, that will be Matplotlib because Seaborn cannot operate without it. Because if you are using Seaborn, it must be based on Matplotlib because for things like title and show, you see we are using PLT here. So because we have installed imported Matplotlib before, that's why we don't need it here now. But if it is a new session, you have to import both Matplotlib and Seaborn together so that for all this PLT.title, PLT.show, they are coming from Matplotlib. So here now we need there's a standard data set that we can get from Seaborn called the tips data set. So we say tips SNS dot. So load underscore data set is a function from Seaborn. Usually we import Seaborn as SNS. So for Seaborn, you can install it as SBN or anything you like. Alias can be anything, but just make sure anywhere you need it to. If you had used SBN, make sure you use SBN anywhere it's needed, right? So we have tips and we are loading the data set. Then since you are doing heat map, now heat map uses correlation of variables. And that's why you now say tips.corr. This is standard. So from the tips dataset, now do the correlation of all the numeric parts because there are some object types. So you understand this better under data analysis with Python. And then you do your heat map right here because heat map is based on correlation. All right. So line 8 is where you're doing the heat map like that. All right, so you annotate through CMap. So this CMap now is cool warm. You can make it anything you like. I'm going to change it. So this is this is the heat map now. So all the 0.6, it tells you that total tip and total bill are the most positively correlated, and the next is tip and size, right? Then the next will be the next will be size and total bill. The highest is tip and total bill. Then the next is size and total bill, followed by tip and size. Then all this one, you don't bother about them because total bill and total bill will always be perfectly correlated. So you don't talk about that. All right, for this cool warm now, there are other things you can change it to. For instance, you can change it to rainbow, right? So it gives you this rainbow kind of color. You can do greens or anything, but it's capital greens. You can do greens. So it changes all of that to greens. You can do reds if you like. So it gives you shades of red like this. So you can do whatever. But I think I particularly like rainbow. Rainbow like that. Okay, so we can do pair plots also. We can do pair plots in Seaborn, which may not be possible in Matplotlib. So for pair plots, if from the tips data set, now pair plots is you are just like heat map. You are correlating you are doing scatter plots for all the possible variables, and the ones that are sensible here will be total bill and tip, then tip and total bill and tip. That's the only one. The other ones are not giving any sensible result, and this ones in the center shows perfect correlation, so we don't worry about it. But the only ones giving us some sign showing that total bill and tip are positively correlated. So as one increases, the other one also increases. Then we have violin plots. So you can do a violin plot, which is very good to show distribution of your data. So in this case now, we are still using the tips data set. Of course, when you come to data analysis pattern, you'll understand how to see the tips data set, what it looks like, and all that. But for now, I'm just doing an overview of what Seaborn can do. So you can draw violin plot like this. So if you're a researcher, this may also be useful for you. If you want to do paper ready plots, you can do all this. You can also have box plots still on the tips data set. So box plot shows, especially if you want to visualize outliers and all that. So you see, we have some outliers on Thursday. These are people who tip higher than the average people, right? Like that. We also have a lot of them on Saturdays like that. Then we can do advanced visualization, like you want to do some three-dimensional stuff. So 3D plots with MPL toolkits. So in this case now you have from mpl underscore toolkit dot mplot 3d import axis 3d, but you still need matplotlib again because you still have all this PLT here. So this is so we are going 3D in this case now. Like you want to draw something like this in 3 dimensions. Of course, it's not about. Of course, it has something to do with Matplotlib, but it's not exactly. Just to show. Then you have interactive plots with Matplotlib widgets. So imagine you want to zoom and pan are built in with percent Matplotlib notebook in Jupyter. So you have percent Matplotlib notebook, plt.plot x by y, then a title interactive plot, zoom and pan enable. So if you run this now, it's not showing anything. So because why shouldn't it show something? It should show something, I believe. Show hidden output. Okay, it's not showing anything. That's fine. We just move on then. Then for joint plot with Seaborn now. So you can do a joint plot with Seaborn. We are plotting what tip against total bill and all that. So we can do a joint plot. Okay, it's still not showing anything. So that's fine. So finally, in summary, we see that Matplotlib is best for fine-grained control, custom visualizations, 2D/3D plots or subplots, and Seaborn is best for quick and beautiful statistical plots, heat maps, pair plots, violin or box plots, and built-in data sets for practice. So if you don't want to export data set from outside, so you can have built-in data sets like that. All right. So maybe in the next video, maybe I'll first of all talk about how to import external data into Python, especially using Google Colab, right? Because I've done it for Jupyter Notebook. So I think that should be the next video so that you can understand if you want to work with an Excel sheet or CSV or anything like that in Google Colab. I think I'll focus the next video on that so that you will understand how that should go. So with this, I come to the end of this video. Thank you so much for listening. If you have subscribed already, thank you. Thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, of course, you'll be missing a whole lot. So go ahead, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can always get alerted each time a new video is released, right? Also, then beyond that, you can become a member of the channel. Just click on join and you see some special privileges you stand to gain right there, right? And ultimately, don't forget to like, share, comment so that more people can have access to the great content I have going on here. Till I come your way again, keep doing Python right. Bye.